I'm Gary, and this is Coasting with Culture, which is all about combining theme park visits and riding roller coasters with various cultural experiences around the world. After wondering if I was even going to get out of Seattle in time to make the flight over to Munich from Detroit, the stars would align, and I was joined by Erica in the Motor City for this adventure. Now it's time to hop on that flight toward the other side of the Atlantic, and then head over to Austria, taking a detour on the way to Vienna for a smaller park that enjoys a scenic setting and some really fun experiences. Okay, so after making it to Detroit and having confirmation that we're going to be good for this flight to Munich, I think it's now safe to share what I'd been planning for this trip. After landing in Munich, we drive over to the city of Vienna, which would serve as our home base for our visit. And being at the same hotel for 4 nights was a nice change from having to relocate each day or two, as I've done on many occasions. As we roll over to Vienna, we'll go for a bit of a detour to Freizeitpark Familienland for their 2 coasters and some other rides, then continue on to the Austrian capital. The following days would include a day dedicated to Vienna's amusement parks, a day for visiting a couple of parks outside of Vienna, and a day exploring Vienna itself. After our final night, we'd then head back to Munich with a stop at Phantasiana for the sake of riding a coaster that's on the verge of retirement, and then the next morning would be the flight back home to the States. Now that the plan is set and confirmed, all that was left to find out was how comfortable we'd be heading over. At over 60 open seats on the flight, there was reason to hope that at the very least, Erica and I could get some economy seats with some empty ones next to them, and Delta's 767 having a 232 layout seemed perfect for that potential. Knowing that we were safe for making this flight wasn't enough of a reason to stop watching the standby list though, as there was a possibility of getting to fly Delta's business class Delta One, which is a cabin I've yet to experience. As luck would have it, Erica and I would be assigned 2 window seats up at the front of Delta One. To say that I was excited might have been an understatement, and it made the struggles of getting to Detroit worth it. Needless to say, I again have to thank Philip for making this possible. After getting to see Detroit on our way out and starting our routing off in a way that felt like we were headed to Cedar Point, it was time to sit back, put on a movie, and enjoy the evening meal service, which included appetizers like smoked salmon and a pretty nice tomato soup. The main course options included a roasted chicken breast with pasta, an artichoke ravioli, and my choice, the beef short rib with potato gratin. The cheese and the potatoes weren't fully melted as I'd been used to, but they were still pretty good, as was the beef and the thyme jus it was topped with. Dessert proved to be quite nice as I had their banana toffee pie, and I might have been a little spoiled as I received an ice cream sundae as well. Certainly this was one of the better meals I've had in the sky. But as with any flight I've had in business class, the best part for me is the comfort of being able to lie down while getting some shut-eye. Although admittedly I was a bit more awake, thanks to getting an abundance of sleep from a late checkout at the hotel. When I woke up the following morning, we were flying over England, although you couldn't tell by looking outside because of the clouds. Still, we were in the last hour and a half of our flight, and that meant breakfast, with one of the options being an omelet. Not too bad, although you could tell they added a decent bit of salt to the eggs. Once breakfast service was finished, we began the final stretch flying over Bavaria for our approach into Munich. Customs took a bit longer than we would have liked due to starting with only 2 agents, but then others came to help quicken the pace, and before long, I had my first stamp and my recently renewed passport. Something that also saved us time was checking in for our rental car from Sixt while in line for customs. That allowed us to walk right up to the key pickup stand, then head into the garage and get our ride.
So this car that we've got, it's kind of interesting. For starters, the name of the brand is Build Your Dreams. However, what gets more interesting though is as you get into this vehicle, right now it's not really showing a whole lot, but when we close the door and then we open it back up, It glows pink. And then you see these bands right here. It's like a complimentary musical instrument.
Looks like a guitar! And look, the vents look like records from an old jukebox.
With that ride secured, it was time to hit the road, going through part of Germany for the first hour or so. Then we crossed the Inn River, which meant I had officially made it back to Austria. And just as I remembered from that bus ride 6 years earlier, there were several quaint towns to pass through along the way. One of those which we drove through offered some incredible views of the lake that it shared its name with, the town of Walchsee. What began as a quick restroom stop turned into a nice little break in our drive as we pulled into a lakeside resort called Bellevue am See, which offered some incredible views of the water and surrounding mountains, several of them being alongside the lake itself and in various parts of the hotel. The lake seemed to be of that pristine glacial water from the mountains, and some of the locals were quite friendly and willing to give you a more personal welcome. What also made this visit enjoyable was being able to grab a seat on the patio of their cafe and take in those views with a cold drink, of which Erica had the first of several Hugos on the trip, and I the first of several beers, including this excellent Floatsinger Hefeweizen. The mountain views continued as we drove deeper into Tyrol toward our first planned destination. Eventually, we made it to the town of St. Jacob in Haas for our first amusement park stop, Freizeitpark Familienland. The entrance was a big giveaway that this park had some real character, but little did we realize that would extend into making a restroom visit.
Why take the stairs when you can slide? Juice! What the?
Oh! This has got to be the most fascinating way to try and get to an area where restrooms can be found.
Oh, I agree. And I have learned in all of our travels that if there's an opportunity for fun, always take the opportunity for fun.
Yeah!
Always.
Walking around, there's a lot of neat touches that make it stand out from other places. Among them being the various fun photo opportunities they provide and some of the unique climbing structures and slides. They also have a neat collection of water play features that allow for manipulating the stream. The surrounding mountain views are also a real treat, making it one of the most scenic smaller parks I've had a chance to visit. Like the scientific explanation for Earth's creation, our riding began with the Big Bang, a Customs-Year elevated seating coaster that has a train similar to Verbolten's at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. It starts with the largest drop through a sort of insulated tunnel that I imagine was added to help dampen the scream of riders. Then the rest of the coaster sprawls over a large bit of the park and offers a unique course filled with several helices, some quick directional changes, and a couple light airtime moments. This can be a great ride for those who don't care for higher intensity coasters, while still providing a fun ride for the more extreme thrill seeker. Their other coaster, Wiki, is an SBF Visa creation that's more geared toward younger riders, but parents and older children can ride along with them, as can the shameless coaster credit seekers like us. Something I've always appreciated about European parks is their inclusion of more elaborate play structures and unique play features, like this sort of battering ram style swing that a whole group could enjoy together. But the real highlight in this category was their large slides, including a double-lane racing slide that will certainly rival those you often see at fairs and carnivals. And perhaps one of the most surprising slides because of its height and steepness. It's not vertical, but it might be the closest to a vertical drop I've experienced on a dry slide, giving a nice little thrill.
Oh, shit. Woo! 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 Shit!
The tower also has a really neat surprise with a sort of mini museum of monster and creature masks, some of which are pretty menacing. One of Familienland's more relaxed rides is their small train that takes you for a loop around the park, giving you a chance to see several characters and rides along the way, and more opportunities to enjoy the incredible surrounding mountain views. Before departing, we decided to try one more ride on Wild Raft. This water ride combined elements of water slides with a rapids ride, and it doesn't necessarily get you wet, except for the pool of water in the tub, which can only be described in one way.
Water was so cold.
It felt really good and refreshing. It's like 80 degrees out today, but that water felt good. Come on.
Oh, no. That was ice water. That
Yeah.
was like freaking ice water.
Refreshing.
No,
Yeah.
let's be honest.
My butt soaked.
Needless to say, this was such a nice little park, and I'm glad we made this stop on the way to Vienna. The one downside, though, was that we had a long drive, made even longer by 3 different traffic jams, one of which didn't move for about 20 minutes. But in the end, we made it to our base for the next few nights. It was nice having a far more relaxing flight experience to get to Munich to start our adventure, and I really enjoyed having the chance to make a quick unplanned stop for some great views, then hit our first amusement park of the journey. And most of all, I was grateful that we were able to come to the country that I was hoping to get to the most for this adventure. And this was just the beginning, as next time we'll get to 2 historic amusement parks of Vienna, one of which offers some really neat old rides, and the other which was the biggest and most anticipated park of the trip. Thank you for watching this video from Coasting with Culture. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and click on the subscribe button to see future videos here on YouTube, like these ones which you may enjoy as well. Additional content can be found at coastingwithculture.com, and you can also follow Coasting with Culture on various social media channels at CoastWCulture for announcements, previews, and updates. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, take care and safe travels.